back, Nancy.
Hi, thank you.
Cool. Good.
But I'm hoping some people. I love that.
I'm Mary Shelley. We are a little bit in there. Yeah, that's my thought. Oh, really?
I wish airline seats were. Cindy, how's it going?
It's going well, how are you?
Good. Pretty good for the most part. Overtime wears me out. Too many people, I'm hoping for winter. Be long, right?
Sorry.
Hang on.
That happened before your surgery, you probably would have. Or not even.
True. They drove, yeah, they drove the whole three vertebrae.
Yeah, I think I'm able to do this fine.
It's a great doctor.
situation.
This is,
Oh, you bet.
this is not. Would be highly unusual.
Probably. Yeah, I guess I don't know. Hey, Mom.
She has on she's really good. I tried to
Always said that, you know.
I tried to run out.
I got my grandma got on that on season, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I don't know. Take with her. What do you do? I'm trying to tell her something that you like to go into that was. Yeah. She's but yeah, I told her to look on that. Medicare, I didn't tell her that Medicare was not even one of. Is that the thing that it turned out to be? So hopefully. She likes to set aside and everything like that. Chair over here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this special meeting of the Howard City Council, April 17th, 2019. Almost got that backwards. I want to welcome all of you to be here. I'll be making some opening remarks after roll call and acceptance of the agenda. So Linda, would you like to take roll call?
Sure.
Here.
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 Okay, you all have an agenda in front of you. I have some changes, but we'll do it. I'll entertain a motion to accept first.
Move to accept the agenda.
I'll support.
Okay, discussion. I had originally, because both of these items are actually old business, unfinished business, I'd actually asked that number 5.1 precede 4.1, the reorganization, and I want to make those changes. And I'll make that a motion.
Second.
That's fine. Any discussion?
You already have a motion and support on the floor.
Support, okay.
Can Mary amend her motion to switch those two?
It is a special meeting.
Yes, but my original request to you was to have those two items in the opposite order.
You know, you're changing the posted agenda. And it is a special meeting, and I don't think that's allowed.
But City Attorney Andrew, by the way, City Attorney Andrew Peterson is here. Thanks for being here. When I requested the special meeting, I requested a specific order, and that would be that 5.1, the employee misconduct allegations, come before the reorganization, and that's the way it needs to be. And then I requested that change to be made and have this reissued, continue to reissue.
I think that's appropriate to change it. And I think that was a request, and I just somehow mistakenly was out of order. So
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm an aye. Secondly, on the agenda, I want to make some opening remarks, well, actually at this time. That's a motion also to add to the agenda. I guess I can't add to the agenda, but I can make opening remarks as part of my regular remarks. This is really housekeeping, so I think in just opening up the meeting and talk about exactly what this meeting is for is appropriate. Is that,
I think it's appropriate to use the.
okay. First of all, I always like to point out that the meeting is being recorded. I'm recording it myself here on this device that I think I'm going to donate to the city so that we have an official recording device. It works very well. And there's also a small recorder, a camera up on the mail shelf up there. And Mr. Sikora has his iPad recording also as usual. If there's any other recording devices in the audience, that's fine. But the ones that we record from up here will be the official recordings, and after the meeting I will turn this over to the city clerk. I will be presiding over this meeting in its entirety, and I want to caution the audience that we won't tolerate any outbursts, any disruptions, or some of the kinds of comments that we've received in the last couple of meetings. So I will gavel the meeting back to order if that happens. If it appears that that there's a disruption that's more serious than what I can gavel down and call to order, then I will ask the law enforcement to intervene at my direction and my request. So I wanted to make those comments. And then I want to, and this is in your packets for the City Council, I want to point out the council authorization, which is part of the Tower City Charter, version 2015. And it so states, Section 1.02 of the Charter of the City of Tower vests all powers of the city unless granted to another body in the City Council. Section 2.01 of the Charter of the City of Tower states that all powers of the city shall be vested and exercised in a mayor and 4 councilors who together shall be referred to as the council. Those powers are subject to limitations imposed by the Constitution or statutes of the state of Minnesota that are applicable to a home rule charter city or by this charter. Section 2.02 of the Charter of the City of Tower states that a Home Rule Charter Commission shall be a perpetual body as defined by Minnesota statute. All other administrative boards, except for the administration of a function jointly formed with another political subdivision that are provided by statute or the court, shall be the responsibility of the council. Section 2.08, one comment, I'll shut this off. Shut up. Sorry about that. I was at section 2.08 of the Charter of the City of Tower, authorizes the council to undertake investigations into the affairs of the city and the conduct of any city department, office, or agency. Section 2.09 of the Charter of the City of Tower authorizes the council to determine the appointment or removal of any appointed official or city employee according to existing contractual agreements. Section 6.02 subdivision 5 states that of the Charter of the City of Tower authorizes the council at its discretion to exclude the city clerk treasurer from any meeting at which his or her contract, discipline, or discharge is considered. And we leave that choice up to the city clerk. And I'm assuming, Linda, that you want to remain in the meeting.
At this time, with such short notice, you denied my right to representation, so that's all I have to say.
I gave the required 3 days.
For a posting, but not to make an appointment with somebody. Friday at 4:30 is not really.
The request for a special meeting came well before 4:30.
I didn't know about it until 4:30, until Andy called, and I think that's where you apparently were talking. I did not know.
You sent an email to me earlier than that saying that you
No, I
wouldn't.
didn't.
I got the email on
I
that.
did too. It wasn't, Andy called me at 3:55 p.m. and that was the first time I heard of the meeting. At this point, you denied my right to representation. I did not have time to mobilize somebody from the Teamsters.
Okay. Andy, do you recall my phone call to you?
I do recall, yes.
I referred to an email from Linda stating that she could not attend the meeting. And I also stated that the meeting would be held, whether she could attend or not. I strongly advise that she would attend the meeting.
I recall that, yes.
Okay. Does the council have any questions, any concerns? Linda stating that she's been denied representation. I reject that.
I have one question then, is there something in our contract that states that you need X amount of time or?
There was ample time
I
on
just-
Friday afternoon to
Curious.
contact Mr. Scoop.
I'm just wondering if there's something in the
He's got
contract.
another council meeting that he has to get set for tonight, so I can't give him time to either try to rearrange that one or.
Okay.
I'm just curious about the question.
But regardless, Linda, the action that may be taken here at this council meeting is not the end of it. We followed the contract, the provisions of the Teamsters contract that they have with you, and I understand from earlier conversations with the schools that there will be another step. And further, pending whatever action may be taken today, you will be given a full hearing, rights to a hearing. Andy, can you,
The Teamsters are still waiting for the letter that you promised on June 10th, so that's where we're at.
the Teamsters, okay, I have the letters right here. And,
We don't have it yet,
okay.
so at this point. that's-
They have our answer, and I had
Do you
the
have a copy
letters.
of that answer?
Yes, I do. And it states exactly what we said at the meeting. Regarding grievance number 6810, Keith Linda. Dear Mr. Skoog, I am writing to inform you that Tower City Council voted 4-0-1 on Monday, June 10th, 2019, to reject the grievance remedy pertaining to union grievance number 6810. The council determined that the remedy proposed by the union was in direct conflict with the Tower City Charter and was therefore improper. Section 2.8 of the Tower City Charter specifically authorizes the City Council to undertake investigations into the affairs of the city and the conduct of any city department, office, or agency. While the City Council fully recognizes and respects its obligations per the contract with the Teamsters Local 320, the contract clearly cannot supersede nor diminish the oversight or authority vested in the council by the city's founding document. Please forward any questions to me in writing. Yours truly, Orland Kringsted, Mayor, City of Tower. And this is precisely what we gave Mr. Skoog as an answer at the June 10th meeting.
Did you send that or is that the official copy that I have?
It's the official copy here.
I've sent the copy.
Hmm?
So they have not received it.
They haven't
You have not
received
signed
the copy yet, but
Well, you just said you sent it, so I was kind of confused. When you just said it, just clarifying.
I think I stated that, I stated that, that this is precisely the answer that was given to Mr. Skoog at the meeting.
I know, he also asked for it in writing. I didn't
Okay, and,
And they have not fulfilled that request as of yet.
okay.
Did he,
I think I have
Mr. Mayor?
10 days.
Did he ask for that in writing?
Yes, at the last meeting.
He gave it to me in writing at the last
You know,
meeting.
he asked you,
He asked
No.
me, and,
Did he follow through with the letter after what he told you?
he wasn't supposed to write him a letter, he was supposed to write it.
I've received nothing from Mr. Skoog.
Did he apply, make his wishes known to the mayor in writing?
He stood right here in front of all of you.
He did say that. No, I was there.
He stood at the, where he stood up in the meeting and said, I would like to receive a copy of that.
You didn't answer the question though, on that. Did he file a written notice to us?
No, he spoke directly.
No.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
And typically, one has 10 days to respond, and that 10 days is not up yet. These will go in the mail tomorrow, and will be postmarked 8 days after the meeting. So he will receive that letter on Wednesday. I think I read 6.02 subdivision 5. I'll read it again. The charter of the City of Tower authorizes the council at its discretion to exclude the city clerk treasurer from any meeting at which his/her contract, discipline, or discharge is considered. That also implies that at the discretion of the Tower City Council, we can have a meeting excluding you, which would then also exclude your representation. But we chose not to do that. We chose to have you present for this, and at your discretion to have your representation here. And there was ample time to contact him on Friday when I sent the request for a special meeting to get a hold of him. So those are the remarks that I would like to just begin with. And once again, please, I think it's called public forum. We want, these are serious matters, and we want to address them as seriously as we can. And I really appreciate having the audience listen attentively. And if you speak, it would be only if you raise your hand and are called upon, and it's appropriate for me to call upon you at that time. So at this time, I'll move to agenda item number 3, public input. Andy?
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Mayor. I haven't been at the last couple of council meetings, so I just wanted to address 2 issues that I've been thinking a little bit about. And one, I wanted to just explain a little bit further about why I recused myself on the grievance process. And I want everybody to know here, I think it's really important, this was not a decision that I made. I spoke with my partners in my law firm and discussed this, but whether there had been allegations against a council member, the mayor, the clerk, our office would not get involved in investigating those allegations. We have personal relationships with all of those people, whether it be the clerk or the council member, whether it be the mayor. We work with these people on a day-to-day basis, on a regular basis, maybe not day-to-day, but on a regular basis. And when I consulted with the League of Minnesota Cities, they also advised me that I should not be the one, that it's not my role to be investigating these matters. Now, once I decided to recuse myself in this grievance process, I didn't believe, or I took the position that I should not be involved in legal. whether that be an investigation, whether that be a procedural question about a grievance process. And that's the decision I made. And I guess from the beginning, it's always been my advice or my recommendation that I think the council needs to retain a separate legal counsel to advise them on this grievance process. The other issue that I just want to discuss a little bit, because I've been hearing a lot about it, but was the reason or advice why I gave the council to continue to close meetings to discuss allegations with the clerk. And again, on this issue, I mean, we take this very seriously. Again, I consulted with the League of Minnesota Cities. They have attorneys that are, available to discuss. They are experts. We rely on them. These issues don't come up that often. And I contacted the League of Minnesota Cities, and I spoke with them, and we walked through this process. And again, at that time, they told me the only thing that could be public was the existence and the status of any complaint. They said it was proper to continue to close those meetings, and we relied on that. And I relied on that advice. Now, we received an advisory opinion that was contrary to that. And when I shared that with the League of Minnesota Cities, again, they told me that they were surprised by that decision. Again, it would be contrary to how they've been advising cities for these number of years. So, again, these issues come up, very difficult issues. But, what we try to do is look at them. And if I don't feel that I have a conflict, certainly try to look at it the best we can and try to consult with the league and other attorneys to make the best decision we can to advise the cities. Are we always correct? No, we're not, but we certainly try. And, I guess I just wanted to just get a little bit more feedback on the reasons on those two decisions. So, appreciate it.
Thank you very much. And not to, this is a little bit of a blindsiding because you didn't realize I was going to ask the question, but another question that I have. I'm in receipt of an email request for data. It's a data request, and the data request is for particular dates, very specific dates of email that I may have sent to you, and they also request your replies to me. And I received this from the city clerk, and I asked the city clerk who the requester was, and she said that was private data. In a conversation that you and I had earlier, I understand that the person who is requested of the data has a right to know who is requesting it, and especially when the information exchange is between the mayor and legal counsel. And so we need to make sure that there isn't any attorney-client privilege that is broken. Can you comment on that?
Well, I think it'd be appropriate to look at what those emails are. I'm assuming there isn't any attorney-client privilege or anything of that nature. I mean, I guess my opinion would be yes, that would give those emails out. But without knowing what those emails are, I guess we want to just need to take a look at that just to make sure that it isn't something that somehow would fit under that attorney-client privilege. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that would probably fit there, but I guess I would take a look. I could certainly look at those emails, but my initial reaction would be that would be public data.
Well, I had about 2 minutes it was a very busy day, to look through my email. And in a particular email that's apparently being referred to, I'm a little surprised that it's being requested, and that's why I'm interested in who the requester is, because it has to do with some very derogatory language used by Mr. Stroop, the Union 320 representative for the city clerk, against me. And so I'm curious who needs that information and what they may want to do with it. I'm happy to provide it because I don't think it's going to do anything good, but at the same time, it's attorney-private. I think that you and I need to look at those and have you determine whether or not they can be released.
Sure. I think that's appropriate. I mean, I don't know what emails we're referring to.
Okay.
So
Well, it has to do with an email where my competence and wisdom was questioned, and indicated that the union was waiting for my resignation from city council, et cetera, et cetera. I thought it was very inappropriate at the time, but I just considered the source and left it as is. So I want to, just to cover all the bases here, just pass it by the city council, and is everyone satisfied with the exchange here and the answer given by our city attorney? That we hold the request, and I'd like the city attorney to determine whether the requester should remain anonymous, and then secondly, whether or not there's anything that has any attorney-client privilege involved, especially when we don't know where the emails are going. Any questions or thoughts? I think that's by acclamation that we go ahead and review that. Thank you very much, and thank you for your public input.
If someone will have to just share with me what emails or what dates or whatever, or someone can send me a copy of that.
I'll do that.
Time frame on that one?
Well, I would like to honor the request as soon as possible. I think that typically one has 10 days to answer, but I would intend on answering long before that. And it's just a matter of when the city attorney and I can get together to review the emails and determine, and also to determine the issue of whether the requester should remain anonymous.
Is that something normal?
Not that I'm aware of, but again, I don't do a lot with the controlling agency to do with the request, but we'll certainly look into it.
I don't think I had any experience in that or not.
Okay, well, Linda, and I mean, that's normally
We normally know whether or not the request is not public.
not public. I'll look at it, we can get an answer to that.
Where is that stated?
I was just trying to find it right now, but I'm not.
Okay, it's not I don't think that we should take time from this meeting to research that.
The responsible authority or designee, which is me, generally do not require requesters to identify themselves.
Yeah, and where is that?
It's right over the lead guidance, Community Resource Statute 13.03, subdivision 3C or 3F, I'm not sure which one.
Okay, there's a request from the audience to speak, and we're still sort of in public input, so I'll call on Marshall. Hopefully it's
Yes,
pertinent to this
it's
issue.
pertinent to the issue, because I did address this issue on December 19th, 2018 with Mark Hankinson, the specific issue because it related to because I had made a similar request for the identity of a requester of information related to some emails that I had generated when I was TIDA president. And I got the same answer from Linda that it was private data. So I sought to clarify that from Mark Hankinson, who's the attorney for the Newspaper Association. He's very knowledgeable on the Data Practices Act. And he indicated, although under the Data Practices Act there are a few absolutes, normally the name of someone who requests public data is itself public. In the case of requests for private data made by the data subject, the name would, at least in some cases, not be public. But I don't think that would necessarily apply here. And so typically, unless, there are few certain cases, private, but generally that would be public.
Okay. Thank you for that input. One other, Mr. Sikora.
We're still under public input.
Yes.
As you may recall, or when I asked you specifically for some public data via email from the Tower News editor's computer, you basically scoffed at me, I felt, and told me to go ask the city clerk. I may well be the requester of the data that Scoop documents you may be wondering about. And if that is the case, if that is the subject I was inquiring about many weeks ago. You now know who asked for that data.
Okay.
Further, I believe that every one of these documents on your table have become a public document based on your writing them on the table of this open meeting. And I believe our alternate newspaper has argued many times in the communities around here that all those documents are public data, and I request them. My package was awfully thin, including this one, the letter that you read into the record. So, if you got public data questions, Orland, I'd figure them out. Because the request is like a month old.
Okay, well, Tony, very likely you were perhaps the one that asked for this data request that I just received a few hours ago. When I received your request earlier, I passed that request on to the city attorney, asking for his opinion. And I was informed that that type of information is typically disseminated by the city clerk, and wasn't going over the city clerk's head by answering it without allowing her to do so. And so I passed that on to the city clerk. Andy, do you recall that?
Yeah, I mean, I think normally we try to gatekeep this and it goes to the controlling authority, which is, is key in this situation. So I mean, we don't want requests coming in until we have one area that it goes to, and then if we have a question or something, certainly we can discuss it as a council or with the attorney, but that's the normal protocol. It would go to the controlling authority or the person that's designated by the council to receive the request.
So I followed standard protocol on those data requests that you sent.
Well, that's good to know. You also told me that you had not received correspondence because there was one little letter misspelled in your last name or something to the effect, and tried to deny me. Now, the reason I asked you for the correspondence is the correspondence was to you, a public official, and I would argue, of course, I'm no Mark Ellenson or any of these New York lawyers we scarcely see up here, but that all correspondence in the relationship to your activities as a public servant of this community are public by their very nature. Again, all those sheets of paper you looked at, the one you read into the record, need to be made available to the public. And I wouldn't think after 100 years we'd have to keep going over this with the city of Tower, but apparently...
Right, that red packet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
As a matter of course, though, is your letter that you're sending to the attorney in here, the one you read into the record, which made it public, with no other action made it public, you're reading it into the letter, into the record, made it public.
I believe I have an extra copy of that, and
This is it? Well, maybe it's here, even on the other side. Must be here.
the table of contents.
Is this mine to keep and take and leave,
That's,
or is this mine to examine while I'm here?
that's yours.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Okay, for the city council, is there one more?
Yeah, I have a question, I don't know who wants to answer. Refer to the charter 2015 document. When was that voted on by the people, and is it necessary for a charter city to have the charter voted on as a ballot question? That's my understanding.
It was passed by ordinance.
That's not what the charter says.
I think, if I recall correctly, the Charter Commission members, city clerk, and then there was a first reading on December 8th, 2014, a second reading. Ordinance numbers aren't here, but Linda says that there is an ordinance number, and was given on January 12th, 2015. This charter becomes effective April 12th, 2015, with its passage and previous publication in the Beaver J newspaper.
Okay, let me few words, that statement for Andy here. The charter says that a ballot question such as a charter, which other cities have done, is to be put on the next ballot or a special election if there's not an election near. And that is in your mayor's handbook. And I've never seen it on the ballot. And I think the citizens have a right to vote on that charter according to what it says. And why it didn't get voted on, I don't know, but there's a lot of things that happen on here that we don't have any explanation.
That was 4 years ago, so,
It doesn't matter, because if that charter wasn't voted on and approved by the people, you have to go by what the old charter says.
So I'll make a
Because-
general reminder that public input is, we absolutely want to hear the concerns, but not a time for debate. And so I'd like to hear the concern if you want, now, or if you'd like to send it in writing to the council, anything like that, so that we can follow up on
I'm
the
asking,
issues.
your attorney is sitting right here, I'm asking that question. Is it supposed to be voted on? That is my question. Thank you.
Yep.
we'll follow up on that question as well. Thank you, Rachel. In the packet that I've handed out, there's an agenda, initial remarks, status report to council, and several motions. There's a letter from Mr. Helberger to the county attorney, Mark Rubin, St. Louis County search warrant, a request for data for email account information, and then I have the job description, City of Tower Clerk Treasurer, and Teamsters Union 320 Union Agreement. There's also a letter that John Burgess asked me to pass on to the City Council, and I thought it was appropriate to put it in with this packet, but that's something that will be under correspondence for the next council meeting. So moving on. I'm going to do a little bit of background here because I need to set the stage for what put us to the point where we are today. And this was reported on earlier also, but updated as of June 17, 2019. It's an initial concern reported last January. On Wednesday, November 8, 2018, the day following the election of the Tower City Council, I sent a letter to Tower City Clerk Treasurer Linda Keith requesting the documents including the current city budget, financial reports through third quarter 2018, the 2017 auditor's report, and the city's charter and job descriptions to the city office and senior staff be provided by email to the newly elected council members. I followed up with a request for the organization roster for the City of Tower committees and commissions. I received the requested documents over the next few days, and the charter and commission organization roster on November 14, 2018. During the following days, I began reviewing the documents, and especially I'm going to call it the CNC roster, knowing that I would need to familiarize myself with all of the various committees. During my review, I noticed several term date discrepancies. Some committees did not have member term dates and others did. When I reviewed the terms for members of the Tower Economic Development Authority, TEDA, the first discrepancy that I found regarded Marshall Helberger, whose term showed a year-end date of 2017, which I knew to be wrong. I recall that in the January 2018 reorganization that Helberger's term was abruptly dropped from the TEDA committee with no explanation given. Curious to see if I remembered correctly, I reviewed the approved City Council minutes from January 23rd, 2017 from the Tower City website and saw that Helberger's term was to have run through December 2019. I realized then that the official city document had been altered for Helberger's term prior to the January 22nd, 2018 council meeting. Mr. Helberger's term had been altered by 2 years, from ending in 2019 to ending in 2017. Without explanation what I was doing, I called Marshall Helmberger to confirm my findings with him and found that he had also reviewed prior minutes, was documenting the discrepancies and planned to take further action, though at that point he had not decided what action he would take. I continued to review the CNC organization roster and found that at least 8 additional altered names and terms were the official roster document provided to me by Tower City Clerk Treasurer Heath did not match the official approved resolutions in the published City Council minutes posted on the Tower website. I had other concerns also, such as minutes from the Tower City Council meetings from July 2018 through October 2018 were still not placed on the Tower website. Minutes from other years going back as far as 2010, and I went back and I read all of these minutes that were available, were missing. Minutes from the Gunderson Trust had not been published since March 2016 when Linda Keith had been appointed secretary and during the same meeting was given control over all aspects for management of the trust. I could find no remedies having been made for concerns, alarms, and recommendations provided by auditors for the Gunderson Trust the years 2016 and 2017. Virtually the same repeated concerns and recommendations, nor for the 2017 City of Tower Auditors Report. I found no indication in published approved minutes that concerns and recommendations and at least one demand had been made regarding errors made by City Clerk Treasurer Linda Keith following the 2018 primary and general elections. Additional concerns will be addressed in following reports, and this is something that I reported on earlier. Realizing that if I did not act on my findings, present my concerns to the City Council, and seek counsel that I and the City Council could be considered complicit in these potentially illegal acts, I decided at that point to consult a personal attorney for legal advice, and that attorney was R. Thomas Ferguson in Duluth. I'm setting the stage here again, so I'm going to briefly mention the breach of email security that occurred. At the March 11, 2019 Tower Council meeting, I added an item to the agenda titled Cybersecurity, during which I notified the City Council that I had hard evidence of instances of illegal access to my City of Tower email account. The Council approved my request to investigate. I gave my report on findings, which I called Forensic Investigation into Email Security Breach Final Report, which is attached in your packet, to the City Council on March 20th, 2019. I also provided a copy of my report to County Attorney Mark Wilden, who assigned Sergeant Steve Borchers to investigate. And this is the reason that that I wanted to mention the breach of email security. Number 3, alteration of official city documents. Sergeant Borchers of Virginia was also assigned to investigate a complaint issued by Marshall Helmberger regarding alteration of official city documents. The letter from Marshall Helmberger to County Attorney Wilden was attached in the packet. There were depositions and interviews held by Sergeant Borchers, and I held a recorded interview. He held a recorded interview with me on Thursday, April 4th, 2019 at my office in Tower. The subject matters were about both the alteration of city documents and the email breach of security. It is my understanding that Sergeant Borchers also interviewed Marshall Helmberger and former Tower Mayor Josh Carlson. It's my understanding that City Clerk Treasurer Linda Keith refused to speak with Sergeant Borchers, and Kevin Fitton allowed only a 10-minute telephone interview. And those were the individuals that I was informed would be interviewed. Sergeant Borchers contacted me on June 7, 2019 and asked that I meet him at his St. Louis County Courthouse office regarding a search warrant to be served to Tower City Hall. We met that afternoon, at which time I received 2 copies of the search warrant that would be served the following Tuesday, either at Tower City Hall or at TechBytes, the City of Tower's email provider. On Tuesday, June 11th, 2019, Sergeant Borchers asked me to accompany him to the offices of Tech Bites in Evelyn, Minnesota to serve a search warrant, which is attached, requesting the email accounts for Josh Carlson, Linda Keith, and Kevin Fitton. We met at Tech Bites and served the papers at approximately 2 p.m. that afternoon. I want to move over. First of all, the original letter from Marshall Helmberger to the St. Louis County Attorney is attached, and but I want to bring forth the search warrant at this time, and the search warrant is also in your packet. I'm putting these together very quickly this afternoon, so I do have extra copies if anyone is missing. And this is a search warrant copy. State of Minnesota, County of St. Louis, 6th District Court. To Sergeant Stephen Borchers, Investigator Brian Wilson, Investigator Stephen Heinrich, Investigator Anthony Del Greco, and Deputy Chad Larson, peace officers of the state of Minnesota. Whereas Sergeant Stephen Borchers has this day on oath made application to the said court applying for issuance of a search warrant to search the following described premises in person: the City of Tower, Tower City Hall, 602 Main Street, Tower, Minnesota, 55790. Located in the City of Tower, County of St. Louis, State of Minnesota, for the following described property and things. Emails sent and received by City Clerk Linda Keith between the dates November 1st, 2017 through January 31st, 2018. Emails, and number 2, emails sent and received by Mayor Joshua Carlson between the dates of November 1, 2017 through January 31st, 2018. And number 3, emails sent and received by Acting Mayor Kevin Fitton between the dates of November 1st, 2017 through January 31st, 2018. Whereas the application and supporting affidavit of Sergeant Stephen Borchers was/were duly presented and read by the court and being fully advised in the premises. Now therefore the court finds that probable cause exists for the issuance of a search warrant upon the following grounds. Number 1, the property above described was used as a means of committing a crime. Number 2, the property above described constitutes evidence which tends to show a crime has been committed or tends to show that a particular person has committed a crime. The court further finds that probable cause exists to believe that the above described property and things will be at the City of Tower, Tower City Hall, 602 Main Street, Tower, Minnesota, 55790. And there's a now therefore with the names of the investigators again and signature by the judge of district court. It was determined that the emails most likely could be found at the company called Tech Bites, which is the email provider for the City of Tower. And therefore, the search warrant was not yet served on the city offices here, but the search warrant is still in effect, and if determined necessary, they may come here and serve a search warrant as well. So now I want to go back to need for immediate action on page 3 of my findings. Members of this council have known of the county's investigation into the falsification of records in order to facilitate the removal of Marshall Helmberger from PETA for several weeks/months, and we now know that this investigation has taken a serious turn with the serving of a search warrant. A judge has determined that there is probable cause to believe that a crime has taken place, as stated on the search warrant, and this is in parentheses, as stated on the search warrant and in email directly to me, Mayor Kringstad. The crime involves the falsification of city records in order to conceal the violation of an individual's statutory rights. It would be irresponsible of this council to allow a city clerk treasurer to remain in control of city records at this time when there is probable cause to believe that she is willing to alter those records without authorization to harm others. At a minimum, this council must place the clerk treasurer on administrative leave, paid administrative leave, while she remains under investigation for these two investigations for criminal wrongdoing involving her official duties. Now, whether the county attorney ultimately chooses to prosecute based on the evidence remains to be seen. When it comes to a conviction of a crime, evidence must be presented beyond a reasonable doubt, which is a very high bar. But this council, however, must not rely on an eventual conviction to take action. As a council, we can't have any reasonable doubt about the honesty or integrity of our city clerk treasurer. The council has already had reason to question the city clerk treasurer previously. At our meeting last week, we took action to address the unauthorized alterations to the terms of office of members of city committees and commissions. While the change to Marshall Hellberger's term is subject to a criminal inquiry, we know that additional changes were made to other committees and commissions also. We also know that the clerk treasurer presented us with a committee term roster in January 2019 that contains numerous alterations, and yet she insists to the council that the document was accurate. That in itself may have violated criminal statutes. At a minimum, her actions have delayed the completion of the city reorganization for months. It's taken a huge amount of my time in reviewing all of the previous minutes going all the way back to 2015 and coming up with a new spreadsheet which shows the progression of changes on the various commissions and committees. This is hampering the work of city committees and forcing the council to spend considerable time in an effort to reinstate the proper terms based on official city minutes. There are other serious concerns as well. Questions of honesty and questions of failing to abide by the directives of the Tower City Council. I'm not going to read all of these. I have 6 specific ones that are in this report, and I can go through them if the council wishes me to do so. But this is yours to take home and to read and to study, and will be available in a follow-up investigation, which is not only empowered but mandated by the city charter for this council to do. There is moving on to page 6, and I haven't read the entire document, but we will come back to those at a later time. The Tower City Council, pursuant to section 2.08 of the Charter of the City of Tower, authorizes the council to undertake investigations, quote, into the affairs of the city and conduct the conduct of any city department, office, or agency. Section 2.09 of the Charter of the City of Tower authorizes the council to determine the appointment or removal of any appointed official or city employee according to existing contractual agreements. Therefore, must seek a motion to immediately place the city clerk treasurer on paid administrative leave and begin an investigation of these and potentially other issues related to the clerk treasurer's conduct. The City of Towers simply can't rely on the county attorney to assess the actions of our own employee. Action or activity that may not be criminal and therefore outside the jurisdiction of the county attorney may still be improper and harmful to the city's interest and must be addressed or resolved by this council itself. Excuse me. Therefore, I place out for motion by someone on the city council, a motion to place city clerk treasurer on paid administrative leave while an investigation is undertaken by the Tower City Council and until an outcome from the St. Louis County Attorney and Sheriff's Department is complete and received by the Tower City Council. And that's a motion that I place on the table.
Second.
First, so moved, and the support.
I'll move the motion.
And are you supporting them?
Yes.
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded to follow the motion to place city clerk treasurer on paid administrative leave while an investigation is undertaken by the Tower City Council and until an outcome from the the St. Louis County Attorney and Sheriff's Department is complete and received by the Tower City Council. The second motion that I would entertain to be made is to request.
You have to vote on, we have to have a little discussion on that too.
Something to go through.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. Thank you. Thank you both of Steve and Rachel. Is there any discussion?
What? Go ahead.
You have something, okay. Go ahead.
When we say that an investigation is undertaken by Tower City Council, are we referencing hiring outside legal counsel or?
No, we're undertaking that investigation ourselves. And that's outlined in the city charter.
So how does one do that when one has no experience with that? That's my big concern. How do we do that?
Well, this council was elected by the citizens of Tower to adhere to the provisions of the city charter, which requests and actually mandates us to take on such investigations. And we have the power. I believe we have the subpoena power, according to the charter, to call people in to question them as to what happened. They would be questioned under oath. Is that correct, Andy?
And I'd have to look at the charter, but that's what it says. I mean, the charter is a controlling document, and that's
And it is a controlling document, and it's the one that drives the actions of the city council. Correct.
And I would say that, that, you know, this first motion protects the city clerk as well as protecting the council. I mean, this is a due process thing. So, you know, the potentially criminal action is we're going to hear from the authorities on it, go or no go. The others, as you know, I think Orland lined out here was, you know, things may not be strictly illegal, but they involve our faith or the working of the council, then it's not comfortable, it might not be fun, but it's our job, it's kind of the way I see it. And a lawyer can't weigh in on whether we, you know, like, I don't know, take any given thing, like the $140,000, that might not be an illegal action, but it might be an action that is something that council has to think about. But, so.
And those are the actions that that this council, Steve.
I don't have a problem with having an investigation. My only concern is how do we go about doing that? And, you know, that's my, what are the steps, what are the, you know, that's my big thing.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that's something we should address, and I think if we're going to conduct an investigation, we ought to get help with format, structure, ethics,
Right.
you know, all those things, because I know it's out there, some structure that we can help ourselves. I'm guessing, and I'd be new to something like this, and maybe everyone else.
I mean,
The League of Minnesota Cities will provide that guidance.
I mean, we should do it under a very strict process.
And we want to do this as quickly as possible because this is something that obviously affects the personal life of a current employee and also the management of the city, which I feel has been in limbo for much too long. And so it's incumbent upon us as a council to take this action as quickly as we can. and for the pastors.
So who will, devise some type of a schedule, meeting schedule, so, so we have some kind of a format to go up, that's my concern, is I need to have something in front of me that says these are the dates we're going to meet, because it would impact me in my employment, that's my concern. And I don't know about some of the others, I know maybe 2 are retired, but I know 2 people who are, and you do too, so I just hopefully that so we can get some kind of a schedule.
We'll address that at the council meeting
Okay.
on Monday.
Which
There's several
Monday?
things that,
Which Monday then?
I believe we have a council meeting on,
Next Monday?
a week from today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. The second motion is to recommend, the second motion is to request the clerk treasurer to turn over per Tower City offices access keys to the city offices, passwords to the City of Tower computer systems, including the accounting programs, and other such items as may be recommended and requested by this council. Are there any?
So moved.
Okay.
No, I'll second that for discussion.
Okay. Any further discussion?
My discussion, my thought is, so if we ask the city clerk treasurer to give up that, who's gonna take over her duties at that time?
We, at this point, at this point I have two more motions, or one more motion, and then Linda, given the resolution of the motion made and accepted by the council, we'll ask you to gather your things, and the chief of police will walk you through the car. So I need to ask you to leave your keys, and
We haven't voted on the motion.
No, it's still in discussion.
what we're going to what we're going to ask her to do.
Mr.
Part of the motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Further
I have a-
discussion.
Yeah, there you go. I have, want to know too, who else has keys to the office? 3 bonded?
And they are,
Which,
To maintenance staff,
okay. I have several other motions that I will suggest to the council after Linda departs the premises. So is there any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mine is an aye. So that's unanimous. One other question. We talked earlier, Linda, about the closed meetings, and they were recorded. I had asked you at the time if we had an official recording device. I'm using mine today, and you said we did. And those recordings are hopefully under lock and key in the vault here. Is that true?
they're still on the city's file.
They're on the city's file drive? Okay. And if you would does Terry know where to find those under the?
She can do a search if she can.
Okay. And then I need you to write down the passwords for getting into the city systems.
Okay.
Okay. If you would do that, then we'll just take a short recess. Is Dan out there?
Your schedule, that's a third motion before.
Third motion, we can take now when Linda is here or afterwards. It really doesn't matter. The third motion here is to execute an investigation by the City of Tower Council into allegations, and we do not require the city clerk to be here for that motion. Linda will be in touch. We have your personal contact information so that we can reach you when we need to. Okay. Thank you very much, and we will get this resolved as soon as and quickly as we can.
All right.
Would you like to take? Okay.
I don't.
Otherwise, we're recording as well.
Okay, I won't have a quick first question, but I can go through.
Are you doing something about a recess or?
You want to take a break? Well,
I don't know, I'm just like helping you, what you said you were gonna do, so I don't know.
I will do a 5-minute recess while I think Linda is gathering with us.
That's reasonable.
Consider that your Christmas present.
My Christmas present.
Yeah, please.
Easier than suing you.
And the Carl watering the flowers on Mondays, too? I'm assuming, you know?
I think so.
Okay. Curious. So we don't have brown leaves on it.
We've been doing golf. Oh, funny chances. We're trying to see. Let the kids pay off. That's my attitude. Let the kids, let the kids make the improvements. Let them pay the taxes. I'll just kick back and enjoy That's fine. I don't think
That's how we were married.
I wasn't sure how to question to Mr. Cutchin.
We can actually shut the door here.
How many times did you get? We're looking at insurance.
They'll know it's not here, so we want to start it now.
We should probably shut the door as well. Is Andy?
Oh, your daughter is, Julie's sister. Yeah, that girl. Okay. Yeah, you're sure. Becky. She's very but I don't
We're going to call the meeting back to order. I appreciate it. It's still going.
Oh, okay.
And my phone one is going as well. So, I appreciate everyone bearing with me. I haven't been through this process before either, so I'm feeling my way, but I've done a lot of reading. And it's taken some time, but I think going through the steps that we've had to go through were well worth it to have all of the bases covered. And it's clear that this experience or episode is not finished yet, because Linda has right of a full hearing. She has her union representative behind her. We will. These letters will go out to not only Mr. Skoog, but also local 320's attorney tomorrow, and they will be back in contact with us to go into the next step. Next step might very likely be mediation and arbitration. So those steps are coming as well. So Linda has her right of due course of process here. I may not always use exactly the right words either, but it's not a fun experience for anyone, but we feel it needs to be done. I had one more, well, I have several more motions that I would like to entertain to the City Council. And that is the motion to execute an investigation by the Tower City Council into allegations of mishandling in the city clerk's, clerk treasurer's responsibilities, certain instances of insubordination, creating a hostile work environment with city departments and employees, and in general creating an environment of stagnation in city development, which is a serious matter as well. And so this motion is to initiate the investigation, and we will follow Minnesota League of Cities procedures and follow that procedure to the letter. Is there a motion? If so, say so moved.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, support. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There are some additional, this is more housekeeping than anything else, but the Sergeant Borchers with St. Louis County strongly recommended, and he gave me a name of a person, to request a forensic audit of the City of Tower finances and handling of the Gunderson Trust, sale of land, forest land specifically, and the disposition of the resulting funds. As I say, this has been recommended by the St. Louis County Attorney Sheriff's Office, and it's a certain Mr. Reed who works with the state auditor's office that I would contact, and I'd entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The next motion is to recommend an interim clerk treasurer during the period of the current clerk treasurer's investigations, in parentheses with an S because there's more than one. And I have a candidate who's willing to come in and work with us. She has experience here. She's known to many of you. Her name is Ann Lampa, and she was for many years a assistant or deputy clerk treasurer, and then she was the clerk treasurer for some years. She has given me some insight into how to be a mayor, and I appreciate that very much. I think that some of you have talked to her as well. She would be part-time, and my recommendation would be that the salary of the current clerk treasurer be prorated to an hourly basis to pay Ann for her time here. And she is available to come here as early as tomorrow. I might add that I will also move up here to have my office here. I'll have regular office hours and run interference for anything that might come up with the both the interim clerk treasurer and the deputy clerk treasurer. So that's a motion that.
So moved.
Is there support?
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm an aye, is unanimous. Thank you very much. Ann asked me to contact her after the meeting tonight, and I will do so.
Are there any special, sorry, I didn't catch this on the special meeting. Any special considerations as far as signing her on as a temporary employee that we need to make for the thing
I would say no.
No? Okay.
She has experience, and she knows that it's a temporary position. In fact, she would not want it to be a permanent position or a full-time position.
Okay.
It may well be that we will need to find a second interim clerk treasurer who could step in to assist Ann so that we have someone here at all times, and there are individuals available for that eventuality as well.
And there'll be no insurance issues that we can see? We need to have some sort of, in case an error were made, or I might be overthinking it.
Oh, the city has officer and directors errors and omissions insurance.
And since we as a council approved of her,
That's
should be covered.
that's a good point. I will follow up
Okay.
with the city's errors and omissions.
Whoever we have, I mean, there should be some kind of, what do you call it, contract maybe that describes, yeah, that explains exactly what she's being paid, what, blah, blah, blah. So there's no confusion about that.
Yeah, you certainly could do that, and I think it's important to that will employ.
Okay. Then something for her to sign. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'll be right back.
And then Terry will maintain her position.
Yes, and well, we should you're gonna have to help me here. Did we vote on that?
Yes, we did, yeah, and I apologize, I kind of circled back with this.
Okay,
I've
went
been
back to the
writing so
discussion.
fast that I kind of same.
All right, to know.
Do we need to name her in that motion, or does that make it easier? Yeah, we need to.
Let's have a follow-up motion that the mayor contact Ann Lampa and invite her to come in to serve as interim clerk treasurer.
And can we piggyback on that motion that Mr. Peterson will write at?
Yes.
Temporary employment? Okay.
You know, so at the top, what are there any other benefits? I'm assuming not, right? Is there anything else?
No, she didn't request any, and she simply wants to help out. She enjoyed her time here as city clerk, and if she can give assistance, she wants to. She lives in Virginia, so perhaps we could meet at your office and work through that.
Yes, someone have to calculate the wage, I guess, the hourly wage you have.
So, Madam Secretary, can you recite that motion?
I will try. So the motion is to ask Ann Lampa to serve as interim city clerk and to ask clerk treasurer, excuse me, and to ask Mr. Peterson to write up an employment agreement for her temporary position during the period of the current clerk treasurer investigation.
Okay. Okay. Let's see, that's
I'll make that motion I just said.
okay. All right, thank you.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
So now discussion.
Okay. Well, I was noticing during the investigation, I mean, what if the investigation's over in 3 days? I mean, maybe we don't want to time limit it at this point. If we say it's for the period of investigation, it's sort of until we can hire a new person, is almost the way we want.
Well, the investigation, the outcome of the investigation will go one of two ways. Either
and you
it's
could address
determined
it.
that the clerk treasurer would come back. She is on full paid leave, administrative leave, or she wouldn't.
Okay, got it.
And in which case, the interim clerk treasurer, and I'll put an S at the end of that, would remain in place until a search is done and a new clerk treasurer is hired. Make sense?
Sure. I mean, yeah.
Come on, over.
Well, just I'm saying is like at a go, no-go, you know, the clerk treasurer comes back to her job, I mean, maybe that's the time for another motion to keep someone on until a position can be found. I think that someone can be.
And I think we have to be careful that we're
Yeah,
not
it
to
should be
move past
assuming anyone
the
can be anywhere.
investigation. So-
That's right, yeah, so in that case, it's accurate to just leave it at during the period of current clerk treasurer.
And I think at the end of the investigation, then we would determine our next steps.
Yes, exactly, that's kind of what I was getting at.
Okay.
It's acceptable to me. Now, there was a motion and a second, and that was discussion.
Correct?
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. This is a motion that I feel is going to make all of us more comfortable, and that is a motion to rekey the Tower City office door and distribute these to as an as-needed basis. I suspect that these locks have been the same for a long time, and we don't really know who may have a key. And so I would suggest that you authorize me to contact this lock, for example, in Virginia, and ask them to come and rekey the lock.
I believe we did the last time.
Okay. Okay, and the last time was, okay, that's all right. In any case, it's thank you very much.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
The discussion, you're gonna call this in the morning then?
Unless I have someone who wants to take that task on for me. It's fine, I can do it. I can do it. I can, for that matter, we can direct city engineer to do it as well.
I just add in discussion that it's protected for Linda as well to do that, so it's another reason to do it.
Exactly. That's a good point, Harry.
And the office key should be keyed separate
From the rest of the building.
from the rest of the doors down here. And then the new door, the elevator door, that can probably be.
My concern is is access to this office, because there's personnel records there, there's ambulance records, medical records, et cetera, and I have a motion regarding that as well, that I'll come back to. So keeping on track here, that was further discussion. Would you like me to take care of that?
Yes.
Okay. I'll put it on my list. Okay, thank you very much. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. The next motion is to contact the city, Tech Bytes, the city email provider, and ask that the passwords for the city ISP system, Internet Service Provider system, be changed. On that particular item, I want to make sure that we do not impact any of the city services, whether it's engineering, fire, ambulance, etc. And so that one is also one that I will take on if the council so desires.
So,
And
Support.
okay. Any further discussion?
the only thing here is, between before the next agenda item, we need to recess and do a meeting. Are you going to call them after the meeting?
I'm going to call Dustin after the meeting.
I'm just suggesting maybe people.
And Dustin is with Tech Bytes.
Yeah. Yes. But I'll have that discussion with him. In the audience, if there's someone who has insight in that regard, familiarity with the ambulance and fire. Okay. I'll follow through on that. The next motion is
We think
to.
we need to vote.
Didn't I vote?
Nope.
Well, they sitting next to me. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mine was an aye, it's unanimous. As I mentioned earlier, my concern about the office here is that there are personnel files that are not locked, ambulance patient files, and other sensitive information that needs to be secured in locked file cabinets. And I haven't really thought through this far enough to decide what the correct course of action should be. But I'm thinking that the City Council Employee Relations Committee should be called upon to recommend access procedures for adoption by the City Council. Meanwhile, I need to find out, and I'll do so tomorrow morning, if the file cabinets that have the ambulance patient files and personnel files, any other secured files, or files that should be secured, can be put in locked cabinets. And that's going to be a first order of business in the morning. Can I have a motion and a support so we can discuss?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
Just, you know, those records are very private records, so they are supposed to be locked. You know, not accessed by any of us either. I believe that's how it goes.
Well,
And you
council action, it's required, council action is required to allow the Employee Relations Committee to access personnel files.
And your interim city clerk will be able to help you decide exactly what to do with that, so.
I found that she is very experienced and she's
Yeah.
retained most of what she knew when she was city clerk. So I've been very impressed and she's been very much of a help to me. So we need to address that tomorrow morning. Well, another concern that I do have is this security of the building overnight. Because we don't want access to the office overnight. I'd rather not sleep here tonight, but
I'm not going to.
and that's not why I'm looking at you, Dan. But we need to be sure that the city offices are held secure tonight. I don't know, maybe there's a 24-hour service with BISLOC in Virginia. If there is, I can have to.
I'm thinking no, but
They may be though, but not so pricey, that could be
some of the price would be,
I would say call them first. 8 o'clock.
Can you put that little tape over the door at the usual time, sir? Make sure that everything comes through.
Who's locking up tonight? Who's?
I've got the keys, and I will have to figure out which of these keys works for which doors.
I understand it's not ideal, but I think for tonight, we need to just make sure all the doors are locked. And if you're going to be back there first thing in the morning, just to check and make sure nothing is amiss.
Okay.
big ones blocking these two up here, that's the big ones. Because people still come and go out of that elevator door, and I see, bar people, or folks enjoying beverages and water around back there. So, the big picture of these, this one here, and the vestibule, and the office building, and this one here, so. I think those are all on the same, if I remember, I think it's one key for them, well, I think.
I might be able to help you with that first set of keys that you,
This one here. Okay, any further discussion? We will lock the doors, and do you have police at patrol during the night?
we're running on call status.
You're on call.
The only question I have on 9, the personnel, all these files, hopefully they're locked up someplace and not sitting out for.
Well, that was my concern when I brought this up to the city council months ago, that there are personnel files that are laying around and files that are laying around that they're working on. And if you recall, those of you that were on the council at that time, we talked about having a procedure developed to make sure that that only one file is being used at a time, and that when they're left, that they not be left unattended, always go back into a locked file.
I think in the past, what we used to do was that door stayed closed, both these doors stayed closed during business hours, and people who had no business, visitors that they didn't go in the back, period. That's why you have the window, and you talk through the window, and that way you kept anybody who didn't have any reason to be back there, to be back there, accidentally looking or whatever. So I think if you just, and then again, I'll explain that to you too, that you kept the doors so there was no access by people who shouldn't be back there. So, I think once you get that procedure done, it worked pretty good in the past, just that you just didn't have people come to visit, and kids and everybody else back there. It was just city staff and maybe a council member. But you also had to be careful that we weren't looking at any of those documents either. So.
Yeah, we as a council need to develop procedures for who can access, even to go in and visit.
I think there are statutes for that, isn't there?
Sure there are.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's statutes that,
Yeah.
yeah.
So maybe we need to revisit those at a,
Yeah.
just
Yeah, and obviously she'll be the resource for that.
Or the leading source has got to have a protocol.
Right, yes.
Yeah. Okay, we'll follow up on that. There is a lot of work to do here to make sure that the city continues. So is there any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. My last motion is one to allow the City Council Employee Relations Committee to review the City Clerk Treasurer's personnel file. We know that there are a number of letters that should have gone into that file over the last year. And I think that it's incumbent upon us to make sure that our Employee Relations Committee to make sure that the file is intact.
Second.
Is there discussion?
Who's on
The discussion should be to find out who has the right to go look into that file first. I'm not sure everyone or any of us can just willy-nilly go in there, so I don't know what that, seems to me there's some
Andy, do you
statute for
know
that
offhand?
too.
I don't know.
Yeah.
My
But
understanding
we
is...
don't want to be, impeding on her rights either, so.
Right. And so this, this council has a right, and I think as part of the investigation, should have this right and should do this, should do a review of that file. But can empower is the wrong word, they have the power to recommend that the Employee Relations Committee review that file. And that would be any file that is in the employee.
I think you have to find out for sure who can actually do that. I'm not comfortable with saying, I would say that's fine after reviewing what the statute or something. I just don't want us to be, and even though we're city council members, we can't break statutes, so.
Well,
So I just want to make sure that we find out what the proper procedure is for that again too. So, and then if we can do that, that's cool.
Steve, how would you feel comfortable if we table this item until our meeting next Monday, and in the meantime, figure out how to look into that?
I think it should, just to find out who has the right to go in there. Yeah, I just, because I don't think we should just do that without really knowing that, so. Or you can make it contingent upon finding out what the law says. I don't have a problem with that, I just want to make sure that we're not doing something we shouldn't be doing either.
We want Andy to do that for us?
That's something you do. Yeah. Yeah, and then we just, we're not breaking anything ourselves, so.
So do we need an amendment to the motion?
Well, I think it's just a motion to table.
Or no, I think we're saying
contingency.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I
It
missed
says,
that.
if
You
we
do
along the
Andy's
statutes
opinion.
and
The attorney will opinion
requirements,
is what
then
is required.
if it is, we then authorize the Employees Relation Committee to look at
I think there's some
How does,
things in there that you have to be careful with.
Can you state the motion?
Sure. For an amended motion would be motion to allow the City Council Employee Relations Committee to review City Clerk Treasurer's personnel file in accordance with state law and statutes after consulting with our attorney to ensure propriety. I'm reaching there a little bit. Does that
Good.
sound?
And why, because we don't want to be,
Andy,
breaking the law ourselves,
is that for you?
Yes, no, I can look at that, get an answer this meeting.
Does anyone want to make that motion?
Is there a second? Further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries unanimously. The next item on the agenda is reorganization, and I would like to table the reorganization because there's some other considerations that we need to look at here, and I think we need to talk to the interim city clerk treasurer to determine that, among other things, the city clerk is also the zoning director, and we need to find out who best can fill that position during the interim.
I used to do it, so I would be happy
Okay.
to take that over again. So.
Did you talk about planning and zoning?
No, it's a zoning administrator. If someone comes in with a permit,
Yeah,
you go out and check, measure to make sure we require
got it.
certain things, so. As long as they're patient with me, that's the thing. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Do you want a motion to that effect
No,
now, or wait
You
until?
don't need, yeah, well, if you want to do one now, you can, if you want to.
If something comes up,
I would be happy to.
Okay. I think we
Someone
should
else.
have.
I'll make that motion to appoint Steve as interim zoning person.
Administrative.
Administrative.
There you go. Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay,
Second.
it's actually a second.
Yeah.
You made,
Yep.
yeah, so you're a second.
Mhm.
Okay, any further discussion?
We have another one that wastewater board meets on Wednesday at 5:30. And Linda was the secretary treasurer. So,
How many council members will be there?
2.
No, it's too.
There's already two.
So,
I just have to be posted, and if you wanted to do it, you can do it. It's right, and you just long as,
Post meeting?
yeah, as long as if there were gonna be 3 councilors there, one was gonna.
Are you just looking for someone to take minutes?
well, I was thinking Terry, and that's the suggestion I got from our counterparts from Sudan, that in the past, when Linda couldn't make it, Terry took over.
Okay. Okay, well, that's Gary to do that.
But she's gonna have to find out where the books are to write in checks, paychecks. Now, that'll be something for Ann to look at too.
Well, planning and zoning is on Thursday, no, this coming Thursday night, and Linda's role in that is this year, or?
There actually, I thought we were going to be able to do a reorganization, but as I started looking through the roster, there's a number of considerations that I think that we need to make, and I would prefer to have some time to review and determine that we're making the right decisions.
Which is fine, but for these ones that are coming up in a
Right.
few days, is there, I don't have the gang memorized, so I know Linda has some of it. So I have one that doesn't have the correct names. And zoning, oh no, she's
She's
not.
not
Okay,
playing.
no, that's right, okay.
Not a member, but she
But
was,
she's the zoning-
she was
Okay,
taking,
you've taken care of that, okay.
she would take notes and make suggestions, because she was the zoning administrator.
We
She
need to
knew
vote
something.
on appointing Steve zoning administrator. We need to vote.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? You getting there, Marshall?
That's on. Mr. Helberger.
Okay. Are there any other, any further questions that need to come before the council? Andy, is there any other advice that you need to give to us? This is going to be touch and go, touch and feel here as we step into the rest of this week. And I intend to be up here as much as I possibly can. I'll be in contact with you when I need to be. And we can set up a time to meet with Ann Landra and do the employment. Otherwise, these tasks such as the locks and other things that I need to do, I'll take care of that tomorrow morning also from the city hall here.
Question about the minutes for the meeting. I believe Linda was taking minutes for the first half, and then just jumped in afterwards. take the recording and do the first half based on those.
Okay. Is there, we're going to have a motion for adjournment here, but I'd like to make a comment afterwards, so don't get up and leave right away. But is there a motion to adjourn? Is there a second?
Support.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The comment that I wanted to make was just to thank the audience for being kind, being civil. This is a difficult process for this council. It was a very difficult process for me going through this study of things that needed to be addressed tonight. And so I really appreciate all of you. Thank you very much for being here and being part of the Tower City engagement. Thank you very much.
I just feel like you can bring something on that.
Yeah, whatever steps that.
Or then they get
Well, yeah, I'll get whatever that hours.
Okay.
Okay.
I see her once in a while. I know her kids are like, so yeah. Yeah, good, okay.
I think we're gonna have to get a chance to talk later. Like take down your comments. But I am someone, and I actually take calls, so question mark. So that's on the right. And also, if you wouldn't mind, you can help. I usually think you should pretty much figure out. Okay, my But to me, if the only question was, Jeff asked, it's not personal, he doesn't have anything to do with relationships, it's simply interpretation of city charter. So that's, that's the only reason I was thinking.
No, I don't have any problem. I think they said question, it's no problem at all. And
I think it was very clear what you were being asked.
No, but it's a hard, it's a fine line, and you said, you know, not, like I said, I tried to do that. Maybe, responses or investigate that. That's possible.
Yeah, I know. I remember that from the movie.
Oh, yeah, there's some correlation that I like. Now we're into operation. And I always say, like I said, I appreciate, there's nothing personal or anything, and I disagree with you. That's okay. That's your job, is to protect the city. Thank you very much. But I appreciate your comments.
That's, I just want to let you know that I am wanting to.
Yeah. Part of my job.
Andy.
I was just gonna thank you.
I
So I'm gonna stay here.
You guys should look into, because I'm really pushing for it over 2 weeks as a redoing that building. Get those key fobs so that you get the thing like tonight. I have one for, this one here gets me into the charter school, the country school, and the elementary school. One in my pocket gets me into all the roads at the same time. But you get a centralized computer that controls them all. Now, say the school, I get fired as a cop, the school says I have a key, I'm a danger to society. I was like, it's just a keystroke. The card's deleted, it doesn't work anymore. They're spending, but they're everything. So you get, you go in and you review the law. Chief Nyland, why were you in City Hall at 3 in the morning?
You monitor.
You can monitor who's in and out. I'm really pushing to get that. For the same reasons you guys have it here, we have employee files.
Theoretically, all they would really need was on that front door.
That glass door, well, you know, technically, because yes, you could put it for the glass door and then have only the approved people that you feel should come through this door have access to that. And then there just make that lockers. What if the city paid to have them installed for the country school?
Marshall?
And I know we have CTC here,
You could actually walk right in there and take stuff. You know, that.
I've been watching.
I know, you were here, but I'm just saying, you know how it is, that was always a really big thing.
I looked at him when he started talking about Ann Lampa, you know, the twinkle in his eye, because she kept him on the straight and narrow. And wasn't it?
Yeah, could you ask Marshall?
At that time, I was the guy sitting at this table, that guy who done our audit, had me stuff. All I had to do was call him, pull the file, came in here, show the guy what he wanted, done.
They're a little bit, in the assistant gallery, but I think this was about access to a meeting.
Oh, thank you.
I'm thinking this together twice, and then I put that,
Well, I know,
put
exactly.
together for,
One of those things where
media.
stop that from not coming out.
Right.
But even that access to the
Yeah,
office,
you know, the inspection.
I'd like to say,
Anytime if they need a problem.
basically, Orland should be the only one in there. If whoever the city clerk is in the future wants to talk to anybody, they don't need to bring them back in the office. Bring them in here. I think if they need any information, either you or city heads, then she or he goes and gets the information. And we've got a little bit of
Well, I would see rolling
business with whoever the clerk is.
That's what I was wondering.
I mean, there's not, it's not a line up
there, you see all the
Oh, yeah, my facial expressions are all the time.
And then, then I realized, oh, you were just thinking about Jody.
Yeah.
But I
Stand here and watch this key so it doesn't disappear.
Oh, there you go.
We got them to get down, and it's never fun, you know? A little nervous, I think, but I understand that.
Yeah, that's a jiggle. Lock that one, this guy.
So, but I need to have, Rachel's perfect, she tells me when I need.
I know, yeah, no, she's doing that
That's
well.
fine, she's very nice about it.
Yeah.
even the nervous excuse about not having enough time to contact we're not running according to the rules of the Teamsters. And I can say that from practical experience. When we joined schools, the first meeting of the board was up there. And they were going to cut out the bus drivers.
Yeah.
And our union rep was in St. Paul. I gave him a call that day. He got in his car and he didn't stop till he got the Badminton soda. Sat there and told Dan Mobilia, no, that you know this isn't right. Yeah, I guess they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Marshall,
I had Keith when I was there.
would you mind pulling out your
That was the only one that had.
laptop again and look at this block so I can call and see if they have 24 hours? I had,
Getting information for people.
yeah, I had two people come up and say they have experience in these matters and that I should, yeah.
And we should make sure it's continuing.
Okay, it's 741 54 44.
Yeah, but
They don't show a website. My guess is they don't have a website, but they should have some.
Hey Siri, dial 218-741-5444.
Calling.
Thank you.
Oh, they do have on-call service here.
Okay.
Oh,
750 79
Well,
step one.
Yeah, I think it went real well. But I envision her flooding the gallery.
Oh, hi. My name is Roland Cranston. I'm the mayor of Kelowna, Minnesota.
But he had,
And we just finished a city council meeting where there was a motion to change repeat the locks on our city hall doors. Do you have on-call service? It needs to be done tonight. Yes, and I'll be here waiting. If somebody brings me a hamburger.
should I do the one? Like they were on the.
Oh, you did?
Mary.
Oh, shoot. Well, we just got done with this, this meeting, and it's fairly critical because there's, exposed personnel records and other kinds of records that we need to have secure. 2 doors, right, 3.
Well, it depends, if you just did the front glass door, you don't need to do one tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, we'd only have to do 1 tonight. Uh-huh. If it's any incentive at all, there was about 10 people that suggested or recommended you. How's that for sweet talking? Okay. Well, I would appreciate it. What kind of keys? Well, the city hall here is Art Deco 50s. And I don't know, someone told me tonight that the locks were changed.
It's a Yale lock.
Yale locks.
I can't get any of these things to work anymore, which leaves those 2 glass doors open.
I got the key to that glass door.
This door and this door.
So the front door, you have the key?
I can't make them work, I know these
See, we don't know who has keys.
Oh, yeah, these.
So, but anyway, they're,
And you know what? It's got-
okay, thank you so much.
You know, there used
I'll
to
be
be
here.
locking.
My name is Orlin, O-R-L-Y-N, Kringstad,
There was no.
Tried to.
K-R-S-T-A-D.
You have an
Yes,
office.
yes, yes.
I'm
I'm mayor.
Wouldn't do that.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Okay.
It was Mary.
That's, okay. I'll be here. Thank you very much.
She
Bye now.
Stephen go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got this one to work in that front glass door right here.
Okay.
You want to go
And
down?
then
Sure.
This one worked in the door to get into this door here.
And I'll bring with it.
This one, this, so I got it, I couldn't get anything to work in this door.
Oh, okay.
So here,
Well, maybe they just block it from the inside.
Yeah, that door back there, you locked.
yeah, this one you can lock from in here and go out that door and lock that.
Or it looked like,
So it does release the